this issue of why Gideon is doing whatever he's doing, I want to pick from something that Nelson has said. First, Ruto's, as president, it is in his best interest to reduce resistance to his government as much as possible. It's in his best interest, so that he's able to do whatever he wants, literally, right? That is nature, human nature. That is the interest of anybody. If you asked Senator here, he would rather not have any opposition in his county at all. If it was possible to wake up and reduce all your opposition to become your friends, so that they're only saying what you want them to say, that is what you'd want.
Or keeping quiet.
Yes, or keeping quiet.
Yep.
So I don't think we should blame Ruto for doing that, because he's doing what is expected of him. I think, and then there's also nobody who has been told he has to be in opposition. We've never agreed that we have elected Gideon to be opposition. Nobody's elected to be in opposition. It's you who decides that I'm going to be in opposition. Because even now, I hear the DG saying that Kalonzo doesn't want to get into government. Kalonzo would get into government. The question is, what would he get? You can't keep saying Kalonzo doesn't want to get into government. If today Ruto said, I'm going to step away and leave you to be president, Kalonzo would get into government immediately. So let's not say that he can't get into government. The issue is, what is he going to get into government?
Yeah.
And I wanted to make that point. Nobody runs to be opposition. Nobody runs for office to be opposition. Everybody runs for office to become government. It's only that when you don't make it, you assume that your default setting is to become opposition. Raila now has learned how to now move away from being in opposition during the intervening period between elections, and he maneuvers himself back into government, or into government somehow. And you'll see, he was in government and then he ran for office in 2022. For all intents and purposes, he could actually run again in 2027. But he learns how to, once the elections are over and I didn't make it, so how do we now live with this government that is coming into place that is not ours? And he finds his space. And even for political parties, I come from the school of thought that the purpose of a political party is to look for power, so that you can implement the policies. If you look at the first world, a lot of what happens is that once an election is over, the political party that won, in most cases, has to end up having a conversation. Even in South Africa, you end up having to get into a conversation with the party you are competing with, because you can't govern by yourself. And what happens is that now the party that comes and adjusts some of your policies as a government, the ruling party, and you guys have to find your compromise. Now, Gideon has decided he's a leader of KANU. He wanted to run for Senate. You asked a very interesting question. If he wasn't running for Senate, would this conversation have happened? I don't think it would have happened. I don't agree with Senator. But you see, because he's running for Senate, an opportunity arose for a conversation. Government doesn't want to lose that position. And there's a very high possibility they could. Gideon is thinking, okay, I could be Senator and continue operating from outside, or I can stop being senator and become part of government and make a few changes happen. Now, somebody will argue that he's doing this for personal interest. But there's something very interesting that happened in that clip. When Ruto said, as you are quoting, Moi protected me. Nothing stops me, because I'm going to take the translation that I read on, was me, Sielewi Kalenjin.
Yes.
And then Senator here could be
managing
the message.
Yes.
When Gideon said, when Ruto said, Moi protected me and I can protect Gideon. For me, the issue is not it's not Gideon. It's the people who clapped. Because it's not Gideon who clapped.
Yeah.
That entire mass of people that were in that space clapped. Why were they clapping? Because you see, the person he's telling, I will protect, is Gideon. The people who are clapping are Gideon supporters.
Yeah.
Why are they clapping? Because they feel if you're going to protect Gideon, then even us, who are Gideon supporters, are going to be protected. So again, you go back to the point of why political parties exist. The people who are in that room, I assume, or in that tent, were KANU supporters. The people who are very annoyed with Gideon 2 days ago for not running for Senate.
Yes.
They're the ones who are now being mollified. They've been told, guys, don't worry. I know you guys thought you're going to be safe if Gideon becomes senator and he's going to have a bit of power. I don't know what power senators have, but maybe he's going to have a bit of power and he's going to protect you. I want to assure you that despite the fact that he is not going to become senator, I will protect him. And guys clapped because they're like, okay, if you're going to protect him, then we are safe.
Okay.
So for me, that is an interesting perspective we need to understand. And we also need to stop discussing about opposition as if it's a permanent position. Anybody in opposition...
It's a holding ground.
It's not even a holding ground. It's supposed to be a space... If today Nelson was invited into government, I don't want him to keep saying, I cannot join this government. I would want him to say, I can join this government on the condition that they are going to do the following 5 things. Because you can't say you're not going to join government.
But don't you find that fascinating?
Yes.
Do we really have politics of principles? And I like your approach to being practical. Do you have principles in our politics? Or should we just forget about them?
You see, first and foremost, I think we need to start defining what principles are. Because part of my problem has been, in 2022, the people who voted for this government, forget about the leaders who have voted for. The people who voted for this government, 1 year later, were saying they made a mistake. The people who are running the campaign for this government to get into office are some of the people who are telling us this government is bad. Now, they're telling us this government is bad. Why? Because something has changed in their personal relationship with this government. And now they're convincing an entire population that because I am no longer here, this government is bad. So the same question you asked about Senate. So as we talk about the principles of how politics works, I'm a political student, political science student. And one of the things you learn is that politics is such a dynamic field because things change all the time. We have a Ruto before 2024, Gen Z. We have a Ruto after 2024, Gen Z. We have a Kenya before 2024, Gen Z. And we have a Kenya after 2024, Gen Z. The Gen Z of June. That thing changed the dynamics of our country. And if you're a leader, you can't keep insisting, this is who I am. You have to change with that. And that's a practical thing I'm talking about, our politics. We need to be that practical. If you're an opposition leader, and Israel is one that has perfected that, and Italy, they change government literally on a yearly basis because this one is not working. So you cobble that thing up, and Kalonzo gets into government, and he comes in and says, from now on, we are not going to be abductions, He's given assurances. Why wouldn't you join into that government? Because the things you're talking about, you're going to do in 2027. What if the government could do them now?